Hey everybody, how's it going? Hopefully y'all are having a great day. In today's video, I wanted to cover one of, if not the biggest killer of modern day budgeting, and that is this concept of lifestyle creep. I'll take some time and explain what lifestyle creep is, how it can ruin your budget, and some things you can do to help stave off lifestyle creep. So, let's get into it. First things first, what is lifestyle creep? Lifestyle creep is this phenomenon where, as our income increases, so too does our desire for consumer spending. Let's paint a scenario really quick. Let's say you work a job, you apply for another position, and you end up getting it. This new position pays you 50% more money. You start, and after a couple weeks, you get your first paycheck. After seeing all that extra cash that you have now compared to the paychecks you used to get, you start looking around and noticing, wow, my kitchen appliances need changing. This gym that I've always wanted a membership for, now I can afford it. I'm gonna sign up. And so the story continues. All of a sudden, all of the extra cash flow that you had from that pay increase is suddenly occupied by other things now. And you're kind of back to square one. You have roughly about the same amount of cash left over at the end of each month after you spend everything as you did before. Lifestyle has changed a little bit, but all in all, your excess cash at the end of the month is about the same. This is lifestyle creep. How does lifestyle creep affect modern day budgeting? With varying lifestyles readily available to us through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and any other social media, it's very easy for us to look at our own lifestyles and compare it to those of other people that we think are more successful or have a better quality of life from what we see on the screen. And it really leaves us susceptible to this concept of lifestyle creep, where once we do have the means to do so, we want to simulate the life that we see on our phones, on our computers. This is very harmful to the modern day budget. Ultimately, when you're creating a budget, the end goal would be to have some excess cash flow at the end of every month so that you can start applying that cash flow to future goals and future needs, whether that be a goal towards saving for a trip, whether it be a goal to save up for a big purchase, or whether it's just saving to save, wanting to put away some money for the future. Can't really do that if you don't have any excess cash flow at the end of every month. Another reason why lifestyle creep is so harmful to budgeting is that once you upgrade your quality of life, it is significantly harder to decrease your quality of life. And this increasing and subsequent decreasing of quality of life can really be in multiple areas, whether that's quality of food that you're consuming, quality of things that you're able to do, like going to the gym or going to nicer restaurants. Also, quality of life isn't just the amount of things that you're able to buy. Quality of life is also the time that you are able to get back by spending that extra money. For example, let's say before you got that new job, you cooked at home every night. And while yes, this did end up saving you money, it ended up costing you time, and a lot of it. It took you about an hour 30 every night to prep, cook, and clean dishes after you were done eating. Now, after you got the new job, you're able to go out to eat now because you have a lot of extra cash. Now, all of a sudden, that hour 30 every night turns to only 30 minutes to go to the restaurant, order the food, eat it, and go home. Now you have a whole extra hour every single night, and that's huge. Now, if you were to try and go back to losing that hour every night and also having to cook, that'd be a very hard lifestyle adjustment that not many people are willing to make, at least willingly. This is an example of how lifestyle creep not only affects the things that you're buying, but the time that you get back by spending money. And finally, what are some things that you can do to help stave off lifestyle creep? First things first, identify the things that matter to you and things that you're willing to spend money on. For example, I really like exercising, reading books, and playing video games. Also watching anime, but that's pretty cheap. And in those things, I will spare no expense. If there's something I want, I'll get it. It brings a lot of fulfillment to my life. I know that I'm spending my hard-earned money on things that actually matter to me. Some areas of spending that don't really matter to me are buying brand name clothes or going to excessively nice restaurants. When I spend money in those categories, I really don't feel any sort of joy outside of the initial moment of doing those things. Ultimately, spending money in those categories really doesn't leave me fulfilled. I would much rather take that money and spend it on fitness, games, books, or even just saving it for the future, either to spend it or just to have it around in case I need it. Another thing you could do to help stave off lifestyle creep is avoiding this tendency to keep up with your friends when they spend money in areas that matter to them but don't necessarily matter to you. For example, let's say you're not really into cars, but your friend buys a new car and you see how happy it makes him, and all of a sudden you feel like, maybe I want to buy a new car. So you go out and you end up buying a new car. This is an example of trying to keep up with somebody who's spending in categories that don't really matter to you, but you do it just so that you can keep up with them. And the final tip I have, while it can be preventative, is also very helpful for people who have already started to succumb a little bit to lifestyle creep, is becoming intimately aware of what you're spending and asking yourself, does this really matter to me? I'm only human, and I've definitely succumbed to lifestyle creep myself. I've definitely been caught spending money in areas that really didn't matter to me, and it took a reflection of my spending habits to say, you know what, I was spending money on that thing, but that actually really doesn't matter to me. I would much rather spend that money over here than cutting it out of my budget. It's important when you do this to conceptualize that you're not just taking away things from yourself, you're just reallocating the fun to somewhere that matters more to you. I find that when people cut things out only to cut things out, it can kind of leave them feeling a little bit empty, and they end up going back to spending on the thing that they cut out in the first place. One line that really stuck out to me for my financial life is that the key to being wealthy is to live like you're rich in the areas that matter to you and live like you're poor in the areas that don't. I hope that line resonates with you all as much as it resonates with me. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, or if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. I reply to all of my comments, and I'm excited to hear from you. Without anything else to say, hope you all have a wonderful day.